Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of this is Every Rocky Ever. I'm in my Affected by Altitude mode. That's our other podcast here on the Rocky Mountain Rooftop Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network, covering all things Colorado Rockies. If you've never heard us before, this is our little offshoot where my brother and I talk about every Rocky ever in the history of the Rockies, celebrate them, highlight guys. Some get longer episodes, some will get highlights like in this episode. I'm your host, Skyler Timmons, joined here by my brother Dustin at the end of his semester.
Woohoo! Yes, school is out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking advantage of in the classroom setting to get our podcast done today.
Mm-hmm. And if you're watching the YouTube version, you can try and play hide and seek and spot the artwork from students behind him. There's some cool ones in there if you're a fan of Studio Ghibli or video games in general.
Yeah, got some good ones.
Mm-hmm. But with this one, this is kind of Dustin's idea, a little bit more fun thing to mess around with because there's a lot of Rockies in their history, and some of them don't really necessitate a full-on episode by themselves. Or sometimes we wanted to just try something out different here. And Dustin kind of came up with this little, I guess, guessing game for us. And you can share a little bit of what your idea is.
Well, since there are so many former Rockies that we wanted to kind of go through what was a way to knock a few of them out. And what we decided was kind of do a little bit of a trivia thing and come up with some players, and not to try to give them away right away, but go through and see if we can pick out who these former Rockies are. I picked a few hitters, you picked a few pitchers, and we'll see how good our knowledge is.
Yeah, and we kind of gave some caveats on this one. Whereas most guys that spent 1 year with the Rockies, they're not going to be the really notable ones, or some of them might be, but no, guys that spent time, but you may not remember. They just didn't do a whole lot in that single season, or they just didn't play much, type of thing. So it's all varied type of thing. But it should be fun. Hopefully, my guess is Dustin's going to have a little bit better knowledge than me. And because if he starts picking guys from the 90s, I'm out of luck.
I try to keep them in somewhere in the range that you would remember.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see. So I guess we might as well just hop right into it here. And who wants to go first, me or you?
I can start out with one.
Okay.
Now, this guy was a third baseman in 2011, without putting it into your baseball reference real quick. He wore number 15 for the Rockies, appeared in 27 games that year, batted .255, and was actually an Evergreen High School graduate. That's a high school here in Colorado.
Oh, poo.
Do you want one?
Other questions? Yeah.
One more little hint that would probably give him away is he was a big-time name in San Diego.
It's Kevin Kuzmanoff.
Woo!
Woo!
Actually, I've got a little ding.
Yeah, there we go. When you said 2011 third baseman, that was going to be my first guess, actually. So I just couldn't remember, like, what year did he play in?
Yeah, he was one that going through that there was a few guys that were just a little above 100 games played, and then there was just tons and tons and tons of guys. But he was a name that kind of stuck out because of how good he was with San Diego, and he was, he's a name that, especially since he graduated in Colorado from high school, but when Bud Black was in his first season as a manager for the Padres, who was the starting third baseman? Kevin Kuzminoff.
Mhm.
And it was only 27 games. He came over to Colorado with after it was a trade with the A's, and he was like that player down the road to get shipped over. He comes up to the Rockies call him up because he was down in AAA. They sent down Chris Nelson, and he got into those 27 games in 2011. 3 home runs, 16 RBI, nothing too special. He wasn't that, the big popper that he was with the Padres, but still one of those cool names that wore a Rockies uniform.
Yeah, I remember when they had called him up. Surprising, I thought he had played longer, and he seemed like the name that had been in San Diego for like 7-8 years. No, he's only a Padre for 3 seasons. Yeesh. Yeah, I remember when when they signed him. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like he's probably going to get called up at some point, and then lo and behold, he did. Crazy. No, I guess he didn't even play in the minors that season with the Rockies. Weird.
And they just called him up.
Yeah, let's see what his. No, yeah, he got brought over and straight to the major league team.
Okay.
Weird. No, I'm gonna.
So was he just chilling on his couch, and after he gets traded, and then, hey, we need you. All right.
Yeah, I was like, I need to look that up. Rockies call up Kevin Kuzminoff, because I remember that. It seemed like a big deal. Of like, oh man, Kuzminoff's getting called up. Kuzminoff. Yeah, they call up Kevin Kuzminoff. Chris Nelson sent down. They acquired him in cash considerations from the A's. He was assigned to AAA, but then I think they immediately called him up because he had been in Oakland. So
yeah, he was
they
with
had to
Oakland.
make the move. So yeah, that's a good one. I remember he didn't do much, but it was a notable thing. I remember him getting called up, and everybody's like, "Oh," and he didn't do much, but
nope, just finished out that last season, or the rest of the season, that 2011 disaster.
Yeah. Oh, it only got worse after that.
Ooh.
And then last played in 2014 with Texas at age 32, just 13 games. Wow. Yeah. Big name with the Padres, just didn't do anything else anywhere else. I guess he had a good 2010 with Oakland. That's a good one to kick this off. All right. My next one is also another one I think is pretty good. So I went with the pitchers. This is a relief pitcher, a reliever. Played with the Rocky War number 27 with the Rockies in 2011.
Ooh.
I don't want to say where he's from or where he went to college because I feel like that one's going to be a dead giveaway. Was a right-handed reliever.
Right-handed reliever, number 27.
Was teammates with Kevin Kuzminoff, so that year.
Dang, I can't think of it.
If I say where he's a hard-throwing right-hander, I'll say we acquired him from Houston. He was then traded to the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, what? Wait. Oh, that's old Matt Lindstrom.
Yes, it is. A product from Rexburg, Idaho. Rick's College.
Oh, yes. I couldn't remember what his number was. We got him from Houston?
Yeah. So originally acquired him from Houston prior to the 2011 season. Got him for Jonathan Aristil and Wes Music, both a couple of minor leaguers that were nothing, like D prospects. Sent him over to Houston. We bring him over in 2011. he has a pretty good season. It was probably like one of the better seasons of his career. 63 games, finished 16 of them, had a couple of saves, 3 ERA, 54 innings of work, 36 strikeouts, 14 walks. Yeah. Solid, like middle reliever. Late guy, he could hit like 96 on his fastball. That's what I always remember with Matt Lindstrom. He's a kid from Rexburg, Idaho. Played at Ricks College. Now it's BYU, Idaho, where of us 4 Timmons brothers, 3 of us graduated from that college. And yeah, I always liked Matt Lindstrom because he was kind of that just hard-throwing righty out of the bullpen, which surprisingly enough, he didn't have huge strikeout numbers. Like of his caliber, you'd think he'd have way more strikeouts, but he had closer potential, just always struggled with his command in his career, but worked out with the Rockies that one season and then was included with Jason Hamill over to the Orioles for Jeremy Guthrie.
Well, that was like the Rockies were on that real big thing with the relievers being flamethrowers.
Mm-hmm.
They had him, Felipe Polino, and they're like, we got these guys that just they can bring it, but it really did not translate well. Maybe it's an altitude thing. Like, you got to have, you can't just blow it past over. You got to have secondary pitches that offset a major league hitter can time up 99 pretty easily. And so you got to be able to change, the eye levels and the angles and mix it up a little bit. But Matt Lindstrom, when he was one that came over, was like, oh, cool. That he's a good name, but it wasn't. And how long was he with the Rockies?
Just that 2011 season. Then they had signed him to an extension, like another 2-year extension or something, but decided to trade him because they were looking for that ace pitcher, and so they went and got Jeremy Guthrie.
Yikes. And then how much longer did he stay with the Orioles?
So he spent half the season with the Orioles in 2012, 2.72 ERA in 34 games, and then was traded to Arizona, where he finished out the season strong, and then was headed over to the White Sox, where he finished his career in his final 2 seasons. So it was traded by the Orioles to the Diamondbacks, became a free agent, and then signed with the White Sox for 2 years. And then he bounced around on some minor league deals, but then ultimately finished his career with the White Sox in 2015 on a minor league free agent. But yeah, it was just so much potential in that arm. It just never really materialized. But started his career with the Marlins. 2007 was there for 3 years. Went to Houston, then to Colorado, then to Baltimore, then the Diamondbacks, then Chicago for 2 years.
Yeah, and since it was so quick with the Rockies, I remember him more of a Florida Marlin.
Yeah, because he had those 3 years with the Marlins. And he got a late start to his career, too. 27 is when he debuted. And so he was, 31 with the Rockies. And so I think he just got timed out of the league. If he had maybe debuted 3 years prior, or even just 2 years prior than when he did, probably could have had a little bit more longer career as a reliever. But yeah, I liked Matt Lindstrom. He was one of my, just when you think of those relievers, you're like, yeah, I liked that guy. I wish we didn't get rid of him.
Yeah, especially for what we got in return.
Yeah. All right, so far so good. We're both 1 for 1.
All right, now this one, he actually played 113 games in 2016.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one for me.
And I was trying to remember when you were in Oregon, like your dates, because those are the dark date, the blacked out, the gray area in your Rockies knowledge. But I'm pretty sure that this name will pop up. He was an outfielder, number 6, right-hander, and he was mostly known for being the power bat off the bench in that 2016 season.
Name I want to throw out is Ryan Rayburn.
Ding, ding, ding.
Now, when you said 116 games, I was looking at it the other day. I was like, what outfielders But yeah, Ryan Rayburn.
Yes, sir. Played 113 games in 2016. He was signed specifically to be that right-handed power bat off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout his career, he was outfield and second base. But that's what the Rockies in 2016 needed is a guy off the bench. He ended up hitting 9 home runs that year, 30 RBI, only batted .220. But as a pinch hitter, in 46 at bats, he had 11 hits, 4 home runs. And probably his most notable moment was the walk-off, extra innings against the Mets. Hit a home run like that. That's all I remember Ryan Rayburn is being, that power threat. And I was surprised to see it was 113 games.
Yeah.
I only pictured him. I only remember like every net, like he got on a little hot streak here and there where they just kept him in the lineup in the outfield. And mostly is that power bat off the bench.
Yeah. I remember when I came back and just kind of looking, seeing, because every once in a while I'd see on like, we had iPads and asked like an iPad, like, hey, what's the Rockies roster right now? And I'd see Ryan Rayburn on there. And I was like, Ryan Rayburn? Like, I know that name. Like, what's he doing? And then, looking back, going through, catching up on Rockies rosters and players, seeing Ryan Rayburn, like, yeah, kind of veteran presence that we're kind of still stuck in. 35-year-old, 113 games. He just seems like, why did he have 113 games? Like, who else was on that team in 2016 that they couldn't get more out of somebody else? Those the same years they had Daniel Descalso, Brandon Barnes, friend of the show, was out there in the outfield. Tapia debuted. Jordan Patterson was a guy out there. Rafael Yanoa. Some random guys out there.
But looking at those names from 2016 team, I was like, but you looked at the starting lineup that 2016, you're like, dang, those are some dogs right there. And then you look, oof.
Who comes after that? Ooh.
Rayburn, David Dahl making his, Tony Walters, woo, Ben Paulson, Dustin Garneau, Steven Cardullo, Tom Murphy. There was a lot of guys from the 2016 season that actually popped up in my thoughts of putting them down.
Yeah. Patty Barrels. Wow. Yeah. Random time. Like you said, that starting lineup, though, dang, it's a strong lineup. Even with like Nick Hundley and Gerardo Parra in there, like not a bad lineup.
Yeah.
But yeah, weird. Yeah, Ryan Rayburn, one of those obscure, like he was a Rocky. Yeah, after all those years in Detroit, he came to Colorado.
Yeah, he's a big staple in Detroit and then Cleveland and then came over to the Rockies, over to the Nationals, and then was done.
Yeah. Quick one and done it. How much did we pay him that year? Just $1.5 million. So
I think he got their money's worth.
Yeah. Not too bad. Cool. All right. So we're now 2 for 2. My next one. This is a starting pitcher. Wore number 30 with the Rockies. Pitched for him in 2014. 2014, made just 8 starts, but did pretty well in those starts. And let's see, what else can I add here? We acquired him in a trade from Oakland.
Oh. Well, I know it wasn't what's his name, Smith, because he was just terrible.
Yeah, no.
For a while he was
he's a left-handed starting pitcher.
It wasn't Drew Pomerantz, was it?
No, but he is who we traded away for this pitcher.
Oh, what? Oh.
He was the return.
Ooh.
The hope was that he would be kind of the ace in that new rotation heading into 2014. But unfortunately, we didn't get many starts out of him before he broke his hand while swinging a bat. He's also been very sarcastic and humorous on Twitter.
Oh, I don't know.
Acquired him from Oakland. Later was with the Dodgers for a couple of years. Went to Chicago, then Toronto, then back to Oakland, and then last pitched in the majors with the Milwaukee Brewers in 2020 and 2021.
Dang, I don't know.
He is from Texas and went to high school in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Made his debut in 2009. Let's see, the trade package. Transactions. Ooh, this is interesting. So, we can talk about that. But in 2014, traded by the Oakland A's with cash to the Rockies for Chris Jensen and Drew Pomeranz. And then was granted free agency after 2014.
I don't know. I'm shooting a complete blank here.
Okay. Do I reveal it?
Yes, I failed.
Brett Anderson.
Oh, I was thinking Tyler Anderson, but then in my mind, I could see him.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him in my mind. Because this is kind of redheaded-ish.
Yeah, he is.
Dang it.
And got that ginger beard.
Yes.
Yeah. Had Brett Anderson, left-hander, originally drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks in the second round in 2006. Oddly enough, he was part of the Carlos Gonzalez trade that brought him over to the Oakland A's. So pretty interesting part of that trade package. So he and Cargo go over to the Oakland A's with a bunch of other guys. But eventually, Rockies, after that 2013 season, they were ready to cut Drew Pomeranz loose, who we'll talk about down the line. I think he's more deserving of some of those bust episodes.
Yes.
Like him and Brett Butler or whatever. Eddie Butler could be their own episode. Or just everybody from that Ubaldo trade. But he gets the Rockies wanting to boost the rotation. They decided to give up on Pomeranz, which I think probably was a mistake because they had rushed him up. But they decided, hey, we want somebody a little bit more established to help lead this rotation. Let's go get Brett Anderson in a trade with the Oakland A's. Came over as 26 years old, and the problem was with Anderson, he's just had the worst luck with injuries. Where in 2020, in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, the season's getting cut short from random injuries. 2014, he starts off strong, like he's healthy, pitches just 8 games, had a 2.91 ERA. He was 1-3, 43 in the third innings, 29 strikeouts, 13 walks. So the makings of what could be a solid season. But I remember it. I think they're in San Francisco. He's batting and he hits a little dribbler and turns out he like broke a finger on his pitching hand just from swinging the bat because he gets jammed or it just rattles him enough. It breaks a finger, breaks a hand, and he's pretty much out for the rest of the year. And it just turned out to be a wash. Which is a shame because I thought he was like, I liked the move initially. Like, oh, he's not doing too bad. I think he could be good. But then it just didn't work out. Just 8 starts, which is a shame. Yeah. He came back. So he made 3 starts in April, breaks the finger, comes back in July, makes 4 more starts, and then makes another start in August. And then I think another injury knocked him out for the rest of the year. It's just bad luck.
It's probably like a lame one of like his oblique or something. And those take forever to recover from.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, oh man. It was
but
just
then
sad.
he went on to have a pretty solid career. Is he out of baseball now?
I think so. Last time he pitched was 2021. And Yeah, I think 2021 was the last time he had a transaction with anybody, so I think he retired. But after that, he wanted to have that solid career with the Dodgers, Brewers, just kind of that extra pickup guy that could be a long reliever, be in your rotation. But yeah, man, I was sad about that. Just how it all turned out, because then you see what Pomeranz goes on to do for the rest of his career, and just the last sting of the Ubaldo trade.
Oof.
But yeah, it started off promising, had some good starts, but then just couldn't stay healthy, and it turned out to be a wash.
Part of that Rockies curse, I guess.
Yeah. I just remember him being really funny on Twitter, though. He was like very sarcastic and humorous. It was always funny. Moving on.
All right. Well, okay. I've got two others that I'm pretty sure this one you're going to get right away, and the other one maybe, but we'll just go with this one. Left-handed batter, 2017. The Rockies signed him as a free agent that year. Played in 96 games, batted .238, had 3 home runs. He's from Venezuela.
Oh, shoot.
And he could play shortstop, but was more for an outfielder that year, utility guy. War number 2.
We just mentioned him in the Troy Tulowitzki episode. Is this the little ninja, Alexi
Yes.
Amarista, Bud
Yes.
Black's favorite weapon?
Mighty Mouse. The little ninja, Buddy Black's little buddy,
Mm-hmm.
Alexi Amarista.
Mm-hmm.
You're too good at this.
You went too recent.
Yes. But he's a guy that did nothing as a Rocky.
Yeah.
You know, there was nothing special.
Yeah, I think, and that was one of the big complaints that has continued to permeate during the Bud Black era as a manager, where you just get these just nothing utility bench guys that, yeah, there's some defensive versatility, but there's just no offense that they can contribute. So it's just kind of a nothing player on the team that's not really contributing anything.
It's a washed up veteran that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
You know, it
or sticks around too long.
Yes, it was, and I think Alexi Amarista and Profar, same exact player.
Harold Castro too.
Harold Castro. Oh, get me fired up.
And then, like, that's who gets number 2 for the first time since Tulowitzki is Alexi Amarista.
Yes, that's what it is. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Just even looking at those numbers, you could copy and paste those, and put some guys together and say which one's which. Like, I don't know if I could tell you which one's Harold Castro and which one's Alexi Amarista.
Yeah. Other than he's from Venezuela and was left-handed bat 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was like one of the first moves out under Bud Black. They're like, okay, who should we bring in? And he's like, I want Amarista, pretty much. And it's fine to have a utility guy, but just nothing there.
Yeah.
No danger off the bench. Defense is Ugh. Oddly enough, 2017, his last season in the big leagues. At 28 years old.
Did he go on to do anything else baseball-wise?
He signed with the Detroit Tigers in 2018. In January, was released during spring training. Then, a few days later, signed with the Phillies, and then stuck with the Phillies, probably minor league affiliate, until July of 2018, and then was released. And there's no transactions after that. So,
I think he went down to Venezuela and in Mexican League. So he played
independent leagues.
Yeah, he was with the Venezuelan Winter League right now.
Yeah.
Soon he's
still playing.
Lighting it up. He's still young.
34. He can go play in the Dubai League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
Whole lot of nothing coming out of Alexi Amarista.
Yep. And that's part of the reason why we want to do this kind of guess who the player is, because we can't fill up episodes and episodes and episodes of some of these guys. It was just bing, all right, see ya.
Yeah.
You're
by all accounts, like a good teammate, good guy, like good personality, good person. Just never
and a great
put it together
nickname.
as a player.
That's one of the baseball. That's a great nickname.
Wasn't before Garrett Hampson? Didn't Bud Black always say like he has sneaky pop? He has that sneaky pop too. It might have been another one that he's got sneaky pop. And like, yeah, 3 home runs.
Yeah, woo.
21 career home runs. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but if he had just been able to just be able to get on base, I think it would have helped his career so much more. Of being quick, get on the base, but struck out too much. Well, not really. Before he came over here, like before 2017, good solid contact bat. Didn't strike out a ton, drew some walks. Good hit for extra bases, had a little bit of speed. Just kind of fizzled out, I guess. Couldn't find that life that Garrett Hampson's finding right now.
Yeah.
But, oh goodness. Okay, I got another one here. Okay, I went as far back. I went further back for this one.
Oh boy.
This one's a little more obscure. This is going to be an original Rocky from 1993. He was he made a starter, made 6 starts, pitched in 11 total games in 93, the age of 26, had a 5.30 ERA, right-hander, so a total of 35 and 2/3 innings. He wore number 34, hails out of Georgia, originally drafted by the Yankees in 3rd round in 84, and then the Cincinnati Reds in 1998 from the University of Alabama. The Rockies were his second team. He had originally pitched with the Reds in 1991. And then 1993, he's an original Rocky. On the mound. Dang, he's 50. I think it's his birthday almost his birthday this day was recording. He was born on Christmas Eve. 1966. Interesting.
Dude, it was with the Cincinnati Reds before.
I can give another hint that probably will give it away. His last name is the same as the high school I do broadcasting for.
Oh, there's no way I was going to guess. So it's Sanford. I have no idea what his first name was. Mr. Sanford.
Close. He's the bartender in The Simpsons.
Oh, Mo Sanford.
Mm-hmm. Meredith Leroy Sanford.
Oh, who is this guy? Dang, 6'6", 220. This guy was a monster.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little tiny brief career with the Rockies. Oddly enough, you look at his numbers, he only pitched every 2 years. 1991 with the Reds, then 1993 with the Rockies, 1995 with Minnesota.
Jeez.
Just those 3 major league seasons. No, but with the Rockies, 5.30 ERA, 35 and 2/3 innings, 36 strikeouts, 27 walks. So command a little bit of an issue. A 1.794 walks hits per innings pitched. So his whip wasn't too good. His fielding independent pitching, a little bit better, 470. Yeah, Mo Sanford. Just one of those random names from the inaugural season.
Jeez, holy cow.
See if I can find anything else on him.
He's probably one that was not on any of the video games, because that name just does not pop up anywhere in my thoughts. Like
Yeah.
when we're looking at those original Rockies, I'm thinking Armando Reynoso, Willie Blair, Butch Henry, and Greg Harris, Lance Painter, like Jeff Parrott, those guys.
Yeah. So he was not in the majors in '92, and then the Rockies selected him with the 62nd pick in the expansion draft. And that's really all that his Wikipedia page has on him. But
Damn, when you think 6'6", 220, like I want to think, like, could he just chuck it? Like, how fast was he slinging it?
I don't know. I'd have to do a little bit more, try to figure out what that was. But yeah, and he was most of that came in August of that season. So that could be it by BY2. Well, came up July 30th, called up to the Rockies and finished the season from August through the end of September, making starts and just pitching in the games and stuff. So yeah, he was a starter in the month of August and had some decent outings, like not terrible. Like at least
9.1 strikeouts per 9.
Yeah. Yeah, when he was starting, like quite a few strikeouts when he was starting, walks as well. There's some games, his first start, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts. Next start, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, 5 walks, and another 4 strikeouts. So dominating, probably some dominating stuff, just huck it, but also couldn't command it quite well enough. It worked a little better when he moved to the bullpen. No walks through September. So not too shabby. They're about, 9 strikeouts? 9 strikeouts to no walks in September. So he could have been a guy if he had figured it out, could have stuck in a bullpen somewhere. Big, tall righty coming out of the bullpen. Yeesh. Yeah, old Mo Sanford just didn't work out for him. I think he just kind of bounced around and I think fell out of baseball after he continued on, and then I think he went and played in Taiwan in 1997 and then played in Mexico in 98, according to Baseball Reference. Last affiliated ball was in 1996 with Texas in their AAA system, where not too shabby, 3.97 ERA and 24 starts. They're in AAA in 96, so didn't pan out. Oh well. Yeah, I went with the one of the more obscure ones.
Yep. And I went the total opposite for my last guy. This one, I'll probably just say like the number, the year, and you'll pick him. But we'll go into some nitty gritty details. This guy was drafted in the 6th round by the Rockies in 2013. And in his major league debut, hit a home run. Left-handed bat. Played 111 games. Only batted 180 with 118 strikeouts, 12 home runs. 10 of them came in one season. Position catcher.
So what year was it again?
He was in 2019, 2021, 2022, and then he was released. There was a prominent Rockies catcher who was very upset when they ties.
This would be Dom Nunez.
Oh,
Dom Nunez.
He was one that I looking at names, I was like, now this is a guy that we can't, like, could we have a full episode of he could fit in with categorized with somebody, but really not. He was not impactful.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of I guess it would be maybe one of the busts, but it was like hype, 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 hype. Yeah, he hit 10 home runs in 2021, but then like even that came in like the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah. It was one of those things where, okay, we have a catcher who has offensive potential, but he just wasn't consistent enough. Because did fine behind the plate, I think, like did decent catching, but to have some offense with some pop, like, okay, that'd be great. But he just couldn't hit the ball, I think was the problem. When you get a hold of one, man, those suckers would fly.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't consistent enough of making contact to where now I think he's just kind of in that realm of being a depth catcher in AAA for teams, unfortunately. But yeah, he was like Nunez, but it's like, man, I just wish it could pan out for him.
Yeah, and it was crazy because remember he didn't appear in the 2020 weird season
Yeah.
because like in 2019 they bring him up. I was like, yeah, this guy's going to be an impact, and then disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back, and it's like, oh well, he's our backup guy. He's our next guy. And then it just never panned out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then that kind of Tony Walters took over more stuff, or whenever Tony Walters, it blended catchers during these last few years until Diaz takes over in 2021. It's like, oh, who was the realm of catchers that weren't Drew Butera and Tony Walters?
Oh, yeah. But that's the thing that sticks out is just that 2021 season where he did have those 10 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, dang, this guy's got some potential to, the power threat, and he good athlete, looks, I was thinking like he looked like dang, this guy's got some presence with him.
Yeah.
He looked cool
Mm-hmm.
in a catching gear and just that left-handed swing, but it just couldn't make contact.
Yeah. Like if he could have just turned into some slowing things down, shorten swings up to where he could just improve his hitting to just like making more contact and be like even a 230 hitter, a 220 hitter, do that plus the power. Like I think a lot of teams would take that as a backup catcher. That's what you would need. Because a backup catcher, they still need to provide some offense. And fortunately, he just couldn't bring in. No, he's just kind of stuck in that weird AAA depth backup catcher territory where just hoping somebody gets injured so he can get called up.
Well, and that was throughout his minor league season. It was never, he was never known like this is going to be looking at his minor league stats. It's nothing to like, wow. It was all just couldn't 228
Mm-hmm.
for all of it. But he was one of those guys, they drafted him out of high school and developed. And so I remember when he came up, I was like, dang, this is one of their homegrown catching prospects. And it just didn't pan out. So that's like looking forward to the Rockies. A guy that the homegrown one that we've drafted is Drew Romo.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I keep hoping, like, I hope it's not the same development story as it was with Dom Nunez.
Yeah.
Where it was kind of like up and now you're down. Now you're up and now you're down and goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you can, get up there, stay, and make strong impression or seal your spot there.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. But fortunately, Dom Nunez was not to be. And he's still kicking around. Hopefully he can at least get a chance for like a full big league season again somewhere, backup catcher somewhere. Somebody's always going to need it. But, alrighty. Next one. For me, my last one here with the pitchers. Hopefully, I had only planned 3, and Dustin had planned 4, so this one's kind of on the fly. But the benefit is now I can try to throw him a bone.
This one counts for 5.
So this pitcher, what number did he wear with the Rockies? Hold on, let me pull this up. So a pitcher acquired in 2017, a reliever. Kind of old. This one's an easy one. I'll hold off on this detail to give away. War number 37 with the Rockies. More notable pitcher in his career with the Rockies. Acquired him at the trade deadline. Finished pitched in 28 games down the stretch on their way to the wild card playoffs. 2.45 ERA out of the bullpen, just 22 innings of work, 24 strikeouts to 1 walk. Is a submariner, side armor guy.
Yes. Okay. His name just appeared to me in my mind. Good old Pat. Was it
Pat
Neshek?
Neshek.
Yes. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what it came to me when you said at the trade deadline in their run to the wild card, because he was, but then thanks to him they lost.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that went into that, but
no, I'm
did
gonna
not
blame
pan
that.
out.
But and then it was a big thing. Like, are they gonna re-sign him because he did really good? And then
No, he went back to Philly.
yeah. But yeah, he was a great pickup. What did they give away for him?
So let's see. So prior to this, he had been around the league, Minnesota for 4 years, Padres for a season, Oakland for 2 years, St. Louis when he was an all-star, then went to Houston for 2 years, and then came over to the Phillies in 2017. Did really good there, 1.12 ERA in 43 games with the Phillies. Rockies are making a run to the wild card, or they're in the hunt for the postseason. They're like, okay, we need to bolster that bullpen, help out Greg Holland in there as well. And so they go out and acquire Pat Neshek, and they actually, I don't think they gave up very much. Let's see, for Jose Gomez, minor league pitcher. So they gave up 3 pitchers. Alejandro Requena, who's another minor league player, and then J.D. Hammer. Now, J.D. Hammer eventually comes back to the Rockies on a minor league deal. Didn't really do much. I think he's a free agent now again. Jose Gomez was a minor league infielder, and he's now with the Angels affiliate. But he came back to the Rockies, played with the Rockies system in 2021, and then went over to the Angels system where I think he still might be. That, and then the other guy hasn't done much either, I think. You haven't heard, we don't know the names. Alejandro Requena is 27, starting pitcher, and looks like he last pitched an affiliated ball in 2021 with Seattle, and then spent the last 2 seasons down in the Venezuela Winter League and didn't play this year.
So I think it was a good trade, and he made an immediate impact in that bullpen in 2017.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think most people are going to remember him as the pitcher that gave up the back-breaking triple to Archie Bradley in the wild card against the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
Which is a shame. But yeah, overall, it was cool too because he was just a unique pitcher. The submariner. He's still fun to mess around with that delivery. Then when we're playing catch, messing around with deliveries, we always pull out the Pat Neshek because it's just a weird. His windup is just so unique. His delivery, pitching from the stretch, just what he was able to do. Now, 36 years old when he was with the Rockies, pitched for 2 more years with Philadelphia. Had a good 2018, 2020, or 2019. I think he dealt with a little bit of injury. Wasn't as effective before he retired, just 18 innings that year. But still, in those last couple of years, just a guy that could go out, be a little bit of that specialist, pitching like 30 games, get some punch outs. I think that was the big thing. He could get punch outs and limit his walks. He never, wow, looking at his 13-year career, last time he walked, he never walked more than 20 people. Like he had 20 walks twice in his career in a season as a reliever. Other than that, since 2011, never had more than 15.
That's efficiency right there, and that's why you get longevity as a reliever and success. Don't put extra guys on base.
And with Colorado especially, what did he have? A 35% walk rate. Kept the ball relatively on the ground, limited things to line drives. It's just that advantage of that low arm slot, throwing sinkers, and I think he had a breaking ball, and I was always like, how the heck does he throw that thing like a slider or whatever? Like, how does he get that thing to move? It's just that weird, awkward arm angle. Yeah. The Admiral, as Evan Lang always calls him. Yeah, I like Pat Neshek. It was one of those things where at the trade deadline, they go out and get a notable name. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
He's good down the stretch. He just didn't pan out in the playoffs. And that goes for the rest of the team. The rest of the team didn't really help.
Yeah.
But it's sad that his most defined moment, people are always going to remember him like, oh, Archie Bradley triple. They're always going to, that's going to probably haunt him with Rockies fans for the rest of his life. That's what I'll always be remembered as.
Yep. That's the way it is for me.
Yep. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter that he was a dominant, solid reliever down the stretch for the last 2 months.
Yeah, thanks to him, he played a big part of getting them to that point.
Yeah, helping them get there.
But it's all good.
But it's just nice to moments when see what happens when you're in contention and then you make a solid trade. Because like him and Jonathan Lucroy were the big guys that came over and really helped him down the stretch. And we'll definitely talk about Lucroy another time.
Yep.
I liked Lucroy. But yeah, fun stuff. Yeah, there, I threw you a bone so you could get another one.
And I almost didn't get it.
But yeah, just guys that were here didn't do a whole lot, but they're still part of the history of the Rockies, and they had their moments here and there, for better or for worse. But it's interesting that there's so many more of these guys. We'll have to do another episode like this. Fun
yeah,
stuff.
They're going through and looking. A lot of them were. I almost had all catchers.
Mm-hmm.
One that we met, Nick Hundley, and some of these guys that we'll get in, like they can all fit under these categories, especially like big name guys that made their way to the Rockies.
Yeah, and
like when we talk about these guys that had 1 season or 2 seasons with the Rockies, there's a ton of them that we wanted. We got Ty Wigington that we can get into, Melvin Mora, because I remember us growing up, those were 2 guys, like the Wiggler and Melvin Mora were like, dang, these guys are going to do. It was nothing. It was a disaster.
Very mediocrely average.
And then you've got those kind of players that you kind of focus on. I'm a big guy on pinch hitters and those role play guys. So there were names that popped up that were like super meaningful to me, but then I was like, you're probably not going to get these guys. Like they didn't have the same impact to you that they did with me.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the pitchers that popped up and it took me about, I saw some names and I was like, oh dang, that guy. But I was like, Skyler wouldn't have any idea. He wouldn't be able to pick these guys out of the options. So I did my best to try to find some that you would. I think the Ryan Rayburn one is, since you weren't around, but he was a big enough name that he didn't have a little impact there.
Yeah,
but it's all good. I'll accept the defeat in this one.
Yeah, I had other options like a Kevin Millwood. I almost
Ooh,
brought in,
yeah. Get them
or
sideburns in there.
or Aaron Laffey,
Ooh.
reliever for the Rockies later on. I think, yeah, but those were a couple of them. But yeah, fun stuff. Yeah, there's so many of those guys. Like you look at a list on Baseball Reference, I think guys that just played a single year, there was like 333 players that had taken an at bat, in just 1 year, and that includes pitchers and stuff in that list. But just purely pitchers, there's like 130 single season guys. So there's a lot of guys to get through. But we'll keep chugging along, doing as many as we can, knocking guys out so everybody can get recognition, even if just a little bit. But
Yes, sir.
that's going to do it here for this edition of Every Rocky Ever. Always appreciate you tuning in, supporting the show, and joining along for the fun. You can always find us over on Twitter at Every Rocky Ever, and also follow at Rocky MTN Rooftop for all things Rockies, as well as stay up to date on the Affected by Altitude show, the main podcast. And you can follow me at sideline_crowd and follow Dustin at Mr. T Spanish. And we're recording this, stocking up before the holidays. So you'll be hearing this after the holidays, but we hope everybody had a good holiday and a happy new year. And I think this episode might come out in the new year.
Woohoo! It's a good way to start.
This may be the first episode of 2024. So fun stuff. But be sure to check out our last episode or any other of our previous episodes. There's probably about 19 episodes now, and go check them out. We've covered some big names, some lesser known names, some random stuff.
And as always, let us know who you want to hear about.
Like seeing a lot of people enjoying the Tulowitzki one. We're happy about that. So we'll keep it rolling as we head into the new year.
Right on, right on. Well, Feliz Navidad, everybody, and a prospero año y felicidad. There's the Spanish teacher stuff for you.
There you go. That'll do it here. And we'll see you next time here on Every Rocky Ever. I'm Skyler, and that's Dustin. Farewell.
Farewell.